Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
What up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to part 3 of Chris Ryan. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
Vin, so happy to be back, bro. This is it's crazy. I never expected to be on a podcast, let alone episode 3. You know what I mean? Like bananas. So I like where this is going. Got a lot of cool updates and, just happy to be back, man.
Hell yeah. But you know what happens though? As soon as you get to school, what's the first thing the teacher says? Everyone pull out your homework. Chris, I gave you some homework on our second episode, and it was to give us some resources on mental health and give us some hobbies that maybe people can use. What do you got for us?
So I
didn't do my homework.
No, I did my homework, man, and I have a bunch of resources basically. So since we last spoke, I kind of took your advice about starting like a public social media account, because I have my private stuff that I keep to myself, my family, all that. But in doing so, again, it's kind of like your account. It's not a podcast, but it's a community oriented social media account. Talk more about that when we get there. But I kind of went down the rabbit hole looking at different military oriented mental health, emotional health, different accounts out there. Mm-hmm. And I stumbled upon one account called Black Azimuth Solutions. This dude is like a psychologist in training, super military friendly. And he works with a bunch of different people out there in the veteran community. So long story short, he was doing like a free giveaway, and I put my name in the hat. He has like 30,000 followers or something like that. And I ended up winning the free giveaway. I was like shocked. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, shit. Love that, dude.
I'm on the beach in North Wildwood, Jersey with Melanie. And I'm like, holy fuck, I just won this giveaway. And she's like, really? So I start talking to this guy, absolute gentleman that runs the account. He's like, hey, dude, like this is just not free merch. This is stuff I'd like you to actually look into. All these different accounts donated stuff to kind of raise awareness about veteran mental health. So actually try to like live the mission. Don't just throw on a free fucking hat and hang up a free flag and all that. I was like, dude, like that's literally why I created this public account, is to kind of like bring people together and just get away from the stereotype of like the old school mentality. You got to bury your emotions, just shut up, drink water, keep pressing. Like that's not the way the veteran community operates anymore. We're a lot smarter than we were 30, 40, 50 years ago. So that guy, if you can throw a plug in here or something like that, Black Azimuth Solutions. And then also on my public account, I have like a reel or a story thing that's called Community. And when you click on there, I tagged all these different accounts that were doing the free giveaway stuff. Some of it's like journaling, right? So this one account is all about journaling, like writing down stuff that you've experienced or stuff that's on your mind. Not everybody's into talking, you know what I mean? So me personally, like if I were to sit here with you like off camera and just bullshit about stuff like that, I'm super comfortable talking about like what's going on inside of Chris. Not everybody's that way, and that's okay. Like my sister Kayla, she's a big reader and she's a big journaler. So I've learned a lot from her. But this veteran account, they sent me a book, and it's literally like the veteran journal. And it's kind of like, all right, day 6 of like my deployment, this is what I experienced. Write it down. Number one, don't forget, like, you're going to forget a lot of shit throughout your career. So it's kind of cool to like look back and read and be like, oh, wow, like I did some cool shit in 2024. But also it's a way to take what's inside of you and put it on the paper. It's kind of like it's taking it out of your soul. It might be negative, and getting rid of it. Like it's kind of a way to throw away some of those bad emotions too. So like that's one. And then Patrol Base Abate, PB Abate. That's a super, super cool Instagram account. Again, a guy, he has like 30, 40,000 followers. I don't know, but it's a real place. This is kind of strange. So I'm a military buff, huge military buff.
100%. You definitely are knowledgeable. I'll tell you that.
Dude, I watch a gazillion documentaries. I'll take real life over like sci-fi any day. That's just, I'm not like a Star Wars guy. No knock at Star Wars. Like I think real life is far more fascinating than any shit that a director can come up with. Um, so I've seen every friggin' military documentary known to man. I've watched a bunch of movies, but this was maybe a year, 2 years ago. I was watching a documentary, and it's about like veteran mental health, like not like hand to God, swear on my dad, like this is real. And all these veterans, like true combat veterans with severe PTSD, went to this place called PB Abate, and it's like a retreat. I don't know if the listeners out there are familiar with like retreats. So there's like religious retreats and so on and so forth. Actually, I did a couple in college. I went on some retreats that were like super cool. I ended up being like a retreat leader in college because I had such a fascinating experience
Oh
as like a
shit, that's
student.
cool.
Yeah, so I got asked to come back as be like a leader, but whatever. We'll talk about that maybe another time. But like a patrol base Abate was on there, so we call it a patrol base because obviously that's like what veterans identify with.
Hmm.
Abate is a soldier that was killed, so they named it that. But it's all these different veterans from Army, Navy, Marine Corps, whatever, with severe mental health issues from the combat they've seen. They go to this place called PB Abate, and their leaders have different events and stuff like that, where like basically they have it down to a science, like psychologists and so on and so forth talk about experiences, realize they're not unique. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like you experience the same shit that I experience. I'm not weird. You know what I mean? So like we can connect there. Um, so to bring it back, like with Black Azimuth Solutions, he works closely with PB Abate. I'm like, fuck, why do I know that name? And then it kind of clicked in my head. I'm like, I seen a documentary years ago about this account. So again, I did my homework. So
Now you definitely get extra credit too. I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
bro. So Black Azimuth Solutions was kind of like my plug to like all these different veteran mental health and emotional health communities. So like one I'd like to shout out is Black Azimuth, and then Patrol Base Abate. But again, if you go onto my new social media platform, it's called Charlie Romeo 76.
Mm.
Obviously, you can work your magic and throw that in the description of this video or whatever. But I have all these different Instagram accounts and resources listed. So if one of these things tickle your fucking fancy, great. Maybe you want to go on a retreat. Maybe you need it. Maybe you need to journal. Maybe you just want to talk to somebody. It's all there. And I'm still learning, dude. I only created this social media platform, fuck, man, maybe 2-3 months ago. And Instagram's kind of been beating the shit out of me too, but we'll get into
Dude,
that as well.
dude,
So,
social media is a hard game to play. It's such a hard game to play, and it's an even harder game to win, dude. I've been doing it for you know how long, like
hmm
since September 11th of last year, and
yeah,
it's miserable. But I don't know. I'm finally hitting that incline on kind of social media across the board, where I'm getting tons and tons of activity.
good.
I have a couple of videos with over 1 million views and
Holy shit,
thousands,
really?
yeah, thousands and thousands of likes and shares. So I'm starting to,
Dude,
yeah, like I've been consistent posting every day.
hard
Trying my
work pays
ass off,
off.
bro. For real, for real. I'm telling you, your first 100 videos. If you can make it to 100 videos consistently every day, or 100 posts consistently every day, that's where your activity and your growth will start to you'll start to realize it. Like the other day, I posted this video and I was just like, oh, my followers, like I have like 900 and something. Next thing I know, I'm like, dude, I'm about to like fucking hit 1,000. I'm like, in two
No
days, I'm like,
shit.
yo, it's wild, dude. It's cool to see the hard work pay off, man. And I'm
So
glad
I'm
I'm
not.
finally there. But yeah, you're good right now. You're golden.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to like get political or anything like that. But have you dealt with Instagram like sort of like shadow banning your account at all, or no?
No, they haven't shadow banned my account.
Okay, so that's a thing that I've been seeing a lot more recently, and it's not just me. Like some big dogs out there in the veteran community, like Kagan Dunlap. You know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
So he got shadow banned periodically. I don't know if he fixed it or not. Where Instagram comes in and basically says like your account cannot be shown to non-followers
Gotcha. Yeah.
because of like a post that violated community guidelines, which is complete horseshit. We just a lot of like the social media platforms in America are run by one side of the political spectrum. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to go down that rabbit hole
Yep.
too much, but and then also mandatory fun day. You know him?
Yep. Yep.
he got shadow banned on something that he posted as well.
Really?
And these are dudes with like 1 million followers.
He actually, I actually have his phone number. I was
Oh,
talking to
no
him.
fucking way.
I was talking to Mandatory Fun Day not too long ago. I did an episode with Colin Garrett. He's like
Oh, I know
one of
the
the
name, yeah.
he's one of the founders of the 1111 project, and
Okay.
he hooked me up with Vaughn. That's Mandatory Fun
Yeah.
Day's real name, Vaughn.
Yeah.
And I got in contact with Vaughn. He responded back to me through email, gave me his phone number, and we were talking. The only problem was he wanted me to kind of go all the way down to Texas, and I was like, I ain't going to fucking Texas, dude. I was like, bro, you're an officer. I'm at E5. Like, why don't you come over here? But
He doesn't want to do this, like the virtual. He wants to be in person.
I don't. I thought he would because he's all social media and whatnot. I mean, so this
Yeah.
is kind of like your what would be that word for it? I don't know, the ball's in his court.
Yeah.
Let's get his attention. I don't know, type of ordeal. Yeah, I mean, I told him, I was like, I have a platform, like we could record it online. All I need is like an hour of your time. He's a busy guy. I get it, and maybe I'm not,
I mean, so are you. No
high
knocking
on the
him. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe I'm not as high on the totem pole, but when I do get Vaughn on, I am content because he's one of those dudes like just like me, he's still active duty, right? And
Yeah.
he gets to like have all this fun and point out the shit that is real, but it's also fucking hysterical. And
Yo,
he
his
has that
videos
voice,
are
dude.
so, yeah, his voice is great. His
Yeah.
shit is like spot on.
Yeah.
Like he hits every nail on the head, like super accurate.
Yeah, he has that content where like he thinks of all the ideas and he kind of posts them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's literally like, I wish I had that mentality and I had like the ideas like he has, but I don't really have like the, you know what I mean? Like
Of course.
sit in my car
Yeah.
and turn back and forth. And it's funny too because I seen one video where one of his troops was like parked next to him in the parking lot, and like seen him recording a video and like recorded him recording a video.
Oh, that's
dude,
great.
that's funny as shit. That's funny as
No,
shit.
but I know he got hit. I know Kagan got hit. This Air Force Special Tactics page, like Special Warfare, again, like 30 to maybe 60, 70,000 followers, got hit. And like, again, I've only had this account maybe 3 months, and I've been hit 3 separate times where it's like, you can't be, yeah, dude, like you can't be shown to non-followers because of like, and then I have to open up this thing where it says like this video, or whatever is violating community guidelines, which is absurd. I think a lot of it has to do with like, again, I'm security forces. Everything I do revolves around a firearm. You know what I mean? And I don't know if they like that shit or not.
Gotcha.
So I have a lot of like weapon stuff in there that gets hit. But then there's other shit like that just, like when we'll talk about it. I went TDY to Lithuania and I did an air advisor mission out there, which was incredible. It's all through NATO and stuff like that. And this was a couple months ago. I posted about it. Not a single weapon involved. It's very wholesome, like, and they flagged it. Why? I have no idea. So it's either I have to edit and or delete the post, and then I have there's an appeal button. You hit appeal. It's all AI. Like I'm not talking to any human being. So it's super frustrating. I hit appeal. It doesn't go anywhere for 3-4 days, and they basically want me to delete. It's crazy. So in order to grow my platform, like right now, I'm kind of like in probation. Like I can't show my shit to non-followers. So I don't know. I might have to reinvent myself. I was talking to other buddies of mine that are kind of like in the content world, and they were like, dude, like YouTube's kind of the same. Like the one right now is X, formerly Twitter. That's like very conservative. You can kind of post whatever the hell you want on there, but I don't know shit about Twitter.
I don't have Twitter either.
No.
I didn't have it when it first started. I had it in college because my professor was like, everyone's going to make a Twitter or use Twitter to like do your homework and discuss. And I was like, I have to make a Twitter to do my homework. And he was like, yeah, so we can all like respond to each other. And I was like, how am I going to respond to you if I don't have one? So I had to make one, used it for the 3 months I was in this guy's acting class. And then I was like, fuck this. And I never used it ever again. Just, I don't know. Twitter, it just never caught my appeal. I was just never into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, me either. So I don't really know what my next move is. I don't want to cave to Instagram because I'm like super stubborn. But at the same time, it's like I do want to grow this fucking community. So I'll figure it out as I go. But
TikTok and YouTube Shorts, man.
Yeah,
that's another way to go too. I mean, YouTube is like people always like now the new millennial thing is what do you want to be when you grow up? content creator on YouTube, and
Dude,
I'm like, okay, yeah, I
that
don't
is
know,
so accurate.
yeah, but it's crazy because some of these kids actually, make thousands of dollars off a YouTube video, and
Yeah.
I'm out here like, I don't know, I'm just like, that is that
You'll cross
possible?
that
Like,
bridge though. You'll cross that bridge. Like a lot of these dudes were grinding for years and years and years. Like you're 1 year in and you're already breaking the 1,000 follower ceiling, if you will. So just keep grinding. Like I was actually, it's so weird. I was on the phone with my mom earlier. She's like, "What are you doing this evening?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna talk to Vinny. It's episode 3."
yeah,
So she's
yeah,
like,
facts,
she's like,
dude.
"Are you shitting me?" Because I'm like, "Yeah, like we have this whole plan, like when the videos are gonna get released, whatever."
Hmm.
And she's like, "That's really cool." And yeah, whatever. So anyway, um, it's just yeah, it's crazy how how fast you've grown in such a short amount of time. And I explained, I'm like, he is active duty Navy, and this is literally like a whole nother. I wouldn't even call it a part time job. It's like a full time fucking job.
Yes, bro.
You
Yes.
sacrifice a lot of your personal time to do this, and it's not for the monetization. It's literally like you're just trying to like build this whole
Hmm.
community. So yeah, she found it fascinating. Again, she's in her 60s, so this shit is like a whole other world to her. But I said, yeah, he's juggling, multiple things at once. So
Yeah,
um,
bro. No,
kind of cool.
definitely.
Kind of cool that the grind is working out.
I like you just said too. I want to point out. I like to see like when other people realize that too. Because like your mom and your dad. I'm gonna use you as like my dad for an example, right? You'd be like, "Yo, I see what you're doing. Good shit." But it's cool like when everybody else starts realizing it too, and like starts catching on. And then you
Yeah,
kind of look back, and I look back at like my hard drive with like my episodes from everybody I've done an episode with, and all of the shorts I've edited, all of the episodes, and I'm just like all the thumbnails. The thumbnails are probably the hardest part, dude. I fucking hate doing thumbnails, but I also don't want to. I don't want to make shit, right? Because if there's one term we have in the military, is shit breeds shit, and no matter
yeah,
how many times you polish shit, it's still shit. I think we've all heard that one before.
yeah,
So my
yeah.
thumbnail, I try my hardest, and then like I'll post mine. I'm like, like I'm so proud of it, and then I'll see like another like bigger podcast like with their thumbnail, and I'm like, damn, that looks so fucking good. I'm like, mine looks like a hardback 1990s version of like a library book, but theirs is
you're,
like this
you're
the cool
learning,
thing.
bro. You're learning, and you're also like, I was explaining it to my mom too. As corny as this may sound, I'm like, he's invested all his own like money and shit into like professional equipment. Like as far as I know, you don't have any fucking sponsors that are throwing money at you. You know what I mean? So it's
Nope.
like this is all Vinny just trying to build from the ground up. That's
Yep.
why when I first started following you last year, like 2023, I was like, respect. Like you're kind of doing what I've always wanted to do. You just kind of shit or got off the pot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's literally how we got connected in the first place. And for the listeners,
Facts.
I don't know this fucking guy. Don't know him. You know what I mean? Like I've never
Yep.
met Vinny a day in my life, even though we're both from like New York and shit like that. I saw one of his episodes. I was super intrigued. Started following, listening to the pod, liking the content, and then he hit me up. You know what I mean? So I've never met this dude in person. Now, like I
Nope.
can text him no problem.
Yeah, we have each
And
other's phone numbers, and we'll.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just text you just to bullshit, like check
Mhm.
in, see how you're doing. You know what I mean? Like who the
So,
who would ever thought like that's what like what this whole podcast thing would kind of equate to? But
but
honestly,
that
I love it, dude. I think it's dope.
isn't that the point though? Like to build
Yep.
relationships and community. Like you're
Yep.
literally fucking doing it, or else I would not be on this show if that didn't happen. So like the proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? So
Facts. Facts. The only like sponsor I got out, it wasn't even a sponsor. It was this guy, shout out Anthony Triano. I did an episode with him actually, and he has like an LLC. He has his own business where he makes like woodworking stuff, and he actually
nice.
made this for me. So it
Oh
was kind
wow,
of like he made this, I gave him merch, and we just collabed, and I shouted him out on like all like my social media, whatnot. I still paid him for it. I was like, I'm not. You're not gonna do it for free. I was like, that's
nice.
material, that's time, you know what it is. But it was just kind of cool to be like, like, hey, like I'm giving you something, you're giving me something, but let's still keep it like,
That's badass.
you're a sponsor,
I
but
see my patches behind you, by the way.
oh yeah, right above the other one you were just talking about.
Yeah, bro.
That's
I
cool.
love to
That's
see
cool.
it.
That's cool.
Love to see it.
Yeah, I went on vacation not too long ago. I went to Cancun with my wife, and I seen this little sign, "No bad days," like a license plate. I was like, dude, I gotta get that. And then
Love that.
and now I see your shirt. It's okay to not be okay, and I'm like, dude, 100%.
That's also something I want to talk about is this shirt. This is not It's not my brand, but it's like something I firmly believe in. I love it. I'm not going to stand up and turn around, but there's this dude. There's this dude on social media. His name is Danny Swoll. You ever hear of him?
No.
All right, so he's a bodybuilder, but he's also an Air Force veteran.
Oh,
So
really?
this might be a guy you want to try to hit up and get on your pod. And I don't fucking know this guy. This is really strange. So we deployed to the same base in the Middle East in 2017. He's a boom operator or a former boom operator, which is the guys that fill up the planes in midair, like the big gas stations in the sky. His job is to literally
Gotcha.
hook up and fill these dudes up. Awesome job. But anyway. He's a fucking animal. Like he was a complete freak. I remember seeing him in the gym, and I'm like, that guy's a savage. Didn't know who he was, and then I found him on social media, and it's all like bodybuilding and shit like that. And again, positivity, mental health. But this is his shirt. He just got out of the Air Force maybe a few months ago,
Oh,
and
really?
he's focusing on like his social media and bodybuilding and all that. He's a complete animal. But I hit
I
him up and I
believe
was
it.
like, bro, like I want one of your shirts, blah blah blah. And he lives in PA now, which is even funnier. So we live like 20 minutes apart. He's from Jersey though,
Okay.
and but he's been all over the world with the
Ooh.
Air Force. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, long story short, I thought since we talked about mental health today, and we'll probably talk more about it, I was like, it's okay to not be okay would be like a perfect shirt to throw out here. And also like a little plug for Danny. Don't know the fucking guy, but if you ever want to hit him up and try to get him on the pod, he has like 300,000 followers. Like he's doing his thing. You know what I mean? So
Thanks, man.
just trying to build a veteran community. I'm not getting shit out of this. I just I support another veteran and whatever. So
Shout out Danny Swoll.
yeah,
Danny, I love that you got out and now you're focusing on your social media and growing that platform. Because I'll tell you, bro, it's an uphill battle. I bet when you started lifting weights, you weren't putting up 225 right away. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man.
kudos to you. Shout out to Danny Swoll. If you're listening, check him out on social media. Air Force veteran. Now he just picks really heavy shit up and
Dude, he's a freak,
puts it
complete
down in
freak.
different locations. That's dope, man. That's dope. Well, your social media and Charlie Romeo is shadow banned as of right now, but it's kind of still taken off. Yeah, I never heard of shadow ban on Instagram. I know
Dude,
I know shadow ban on TikTok. Like some of my videos, dude. I'll spend like I have like this video editing software that like came with my computer, and like that's what I use because I don't even know how to turn the fucking computer on or off. So I like used this whole software, made this like whole intricate video, and it looks so dope. Posted it to TikTok, and they were like, "Does not meet your guidelines. Only people you follow can see it."
yeah,
And they were
that's
like
literally what's happening with
something
Instagram.
about like a QR code, or I was like, what are you talking about? They were like, it doesn't look like it's a real video. And I was like, dude, like I literally spent 25 minutes, 30 minutes on this video. It's just like, you know what? Fuck you. But
Yeah,
then 3 days later, another one of my videos hit like 1.2 million views. And I was like, all right, we're even. I was like, all right, we're even. Sounds
dude,
good.
Tim Kennedy is another one. One of the biggest names in the veteran community. He's been banned a couple different times, and I don't know what he does because he has such a following. Probably doesn't hurt him to delete the fucking post, but yeah, no, like if someone were to type my name in or whatever, or like share my account, I still gain followers, like a couple followers a week or whatever. But I would like gain like maybe 10 overnight, and then fucking bam, like here comes Instagram just beating me over the head with a baseball bat. Like you are no longer, like whatever. So I don't really give a fuck, dude. Like I'll figure
That's
it
all
out,
right.
but that's not, it's neither here nor there. I'll cross that bridge, but
Well, you could use Canva, use CapCut, use things like that to kind of like as like templates. Like Canva is like where I can make like my thumbnails or make like a cover or make like a logo, and then CapCut is where you can like kind of like use the videos and do a whole bunch of that shit, like edit them like
no
that way.
shit. Okay,
Yeah. Rather than
all right,
just like those are like the two biggest like apps that you can use. And
good to
when
know.
you're on watch for 8 hours or you're on a plane just bored as shit. Just make something. I don't know. All right. So we also left off last episode getting into kind of education and the benefits so far that you've kind of received and that you can receive while you're in the military. You want to touch on some education points? Because I went to college before I joined, and when I got in, I was like, "Fuck this! I ain't doing it no more."
Dude, So really good point. Like we discussed, I believe it was episode 1. Like I had a very strange route, like coming
Yeah, well,
into the military as well. So like, went to college first, which is again not super traditional for military people. Whatever. Like a lot of people join for the free education, which is totally fine. I went to college first, got my bachelor's, but simultaneously I got hired by Philadelphia Police and so on and so forth.
yep.
And then I joined the military. So again, to recap, like a lot of people join the military to get the free education, then go become a fucking cop or a fireman or whatever. I did everything backwards, and that's okay.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's
there's
all good.
no there's no loan forgiveness. Like that's not a thing either. So I get that question quite a bit. I love working with our recruiters because there is a recruiting crisis going on right now with the entire DoD. For the first time in 30 years, 3 decades, the Air Force did not hit their recruiting numbers, which is like absurd. Like we usually,
Really?
we always hit our recruiting numbers. So the only ones that actually hit their recruiting numbers for this past fiscal year were the Marines, because they don't fucking change, dude. Like when you join the Marine Corps, you know what you're getting into.
Yep.
They've never lowered a standard. You know you're going to get treated like shit, but you know you're going to be part of the best fighting force in the world. And they don't fucking bend. So the Marines hit their recruiting quota, and by quota I don't mean like a recruiter has to get like 5 a month. I'm talking about like the United States Marine Corps every fucking fiscal year is like, we want to get 1,000 people, which is not accurate, but like for round number purposes, and they
Hmm.
get it. And the other one was a Space Force, which is like it's kind of like that's like a tainted number because the Space Force is brand new, they're this big, and they belong to the Air Force, just like the Marines belong to the Navy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like weird thing. But like Army didn't, Navy didn't, Coast Guard didn't, and the Air Force didn't. So we're going through it right now, and that's okay because like the GWAT era, global war on terrorism, is kind of behind us. We're focusing on the future, aka China, Russia, so on and so forth. Again, like these kids that are coming into the military now that like you and I are supervising, literally were born in like '02, '03. So
Yo,
like
it's wild to
they
see, isn't it?
only know about 9/11, and I can't even say a textbook anymore because they don't fucking use books. They use like documentaries and movies and tablets, and that's all they know about, like the patriotism of September 11th, 2001, which is
Yep.
why you know we had 20 plus years of war fighters, like legit guys and girls that went to war for 2 decades. Like that all that experience is retiring, which is very concerning because like you got to learn from the guys that have been there, done that. Now they're only enlisting for maybe a contract, which again, if you raise your right hand, you're cool with me. You know what I mean? I don't care if you stay for 4 years or 20 years. The fact that you chose to serve is great. And I don't really care what your motive is. But a lot of people want the education, they want a paycheck, they're kind of lost, whatever. So it's kind of like, how do we grab this next generation and bring them in? So again, I don't get shit from recruiting. Like I don't make money off recruiting. I don't get ribbons from fucking recruiting. Like I just genuinely care. So that's why like we've talked about, like I do the color guard at the Sixers, and I'll go to the Eagles training camp, or I'll go to like a Phillies game, and I don't I'm not a Phillies fan or whatever. Like hello. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Complete
like that,
opposite.
I live in the area, and that's the closest to my Air Force base. So I just try to help out where I can. I'll go to like local high schools if there's an event and whatever, just speak the
That's
truth
dope.
because this is the shit I'm passionate about.
Yep.
But to bring it back, like, so again, I'm guard, right? And we've talked about this briefly, but I want to really harp on this. Like there is a distinct difference between active duty, reserves, and the National Guard. So active duty, just like you go federal, you work for the president. You have to PCS, which means change bases every however many years and whatever.
Mhm.
And you get like your tuition assistance, and then you also get like the GI Bill, and then obviously there's the post 9/11 GI Bill. Not going to get too much into the weeds with that, but that's what active duty is. Then you have the reserves, which again, 1 week in a month. They usually do like 2 weeks of training during the summer, and they work just for the president. Again, strictly federal funding. Um, I'm not a reservist, so I can't speak too much about it. But that what I just said is fact. And then there's the guard, right? So all 50 states have an Army Guard and an Air Guard. So
Mhm.
Army National Guard is massive. Obviously, you're a component of the Army, and then the Air National Guard is much smaller. But again, all 50 states have an Air Guard, and like the state of Pennsylvania, we have 3 wings, aka 3 bases, because like we're such a big state. So Philly Harrisburg, and Pittsburgh have 3 different wings, right? We all do different shit. So like the 111th, where I'm at in Philly, our main mission is drones, MQ-9s, like the Reaper drones. That's not a secret. Like you can fucking go on our website. It's right there. So I'm not talking OPSEC. Then the 193rd is a special operations wing in Harrisburg. They have special operations guys. They have special operations C-130s. Not going to go too much into that. And then out in Pittsburgh is the 171st. They are an air refueling wing, so they have KC-135s, which are refuelers. That's all public knowledge. So I'm not going to go too much into that. But again, we work for our state and we work for the federal government. So that is a distinct difference from active duty and the reserves. So we have like a governor and a president, 2 bosses. So if there's a natural disaster, like a hurricane, tornado, if there are riots, which like I was involved in 2020, and then with the presidential inauguration and all that shit, the Guard gets activated, not active duty, not the reserve. So like you have a state mission, but then in times of war, you can also deploy overseas for the president, which I've also done, and I'm getting ready to do again next year. So, and it's a little weird because I am an AGR, meaning I'm an active Guard member. So like that's my full-time job. I'm active duty for the Guard, but 99% of our people are part-time, like civilian cops, firemen, teachers, doctors, nurses, like we have it all. So they have a full-time job, and then they come put the uniform on 1 week in a month. But again, they can get tagged like, hey, tag, you're going overseas next year. And then they just give their civilian employer orders and they go. All the training's the same. Go to boot camp, active Guard, reserve. Everybody goes to the same boot camp. Everybody goes to the same tech school. When I'm standing a post in the fucking desert, there could be 3 guys, in a Humvee. One's Guard, one's reserve, one's active duty. It does not fucking matter. We all do the same job. But our education benefits are different, which is dope. So the state of Pennsylvania, I believe, is the 3rd biggest Guard in the nation. I think it's California, Texas, and PA. Or like 1, 2, and 3, or you can kind of interchange those. But since we're so large and we have so much support, we get a ton of education benefits. So you have like your post 9/11 GI Bill, which is strictly federal money. Every school in the nation will take that money. So if you're a kid coming in, whatever, you deploy, you come home, now you're active for the post 9/11. Now you're eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. You have that money. You don't have to touch it if you're a Guard member. Save it. So what's unique about, you have the Montgomery GI Bill and you have the post 9/11 GI Bill. Montgomery GI Bill is like Vietnam era. It's not a ton of money, and it's just for you, the member. The post 9/11 GI Bill is kind of like double the money, and you can give it to your dependents. So if you have a wife or you have children, you can transfer that money to your wife and kids, and they can use it. So if, like for me, like as an AGR, I get tuition assistance just like you. So if I want to take classes, like I can just use my tuition assistance and save my post 9/11 GI Bill to give to my kids one day. That's dope, dude. So like college is fucking expensive, and it's only getting more expensive. So if you want to share that money with your kids and keep them hundreds of thousands of dollars out of debt, do that. So my philosophy as Chris is don't touch your fucking GI Bill. Save that for like your wife or your husband or your kids, whatever, because life's just getting more expensive. So let's take the post 9/11 and put it to the side. So now, again, as an active duty member or an AGR, you have your TA. I think it's like $4,500 a year or something like that. Pretty close. Yeah. It's enough to basically take free school. So I think there's like 13 to 15 colleges in America like that. TA is like totally free. So like I'm getting my master's degree from American Military University, AMU, which a lot of military members go to AMU. It's a real university. It's not some fucking make-believe bullshit. It's accredited. The actual campus is in West Virginia. Like it's called like American Public University / American Military University. There's a real place in West Virginia. But they take our TA. So I usually knock out like one grad class, like maybe 1 or 2 a year, just because I'm working full time. So I'm busy. But again, I haven't paid a dime towards my master's degree, which is really, really nice. But that's all through tuition assistance. So like now we can take that, put that aside. But in the Guard, for example, if you're a Pennsylvania Air National Guard member or Army National Guard member, every state school is free to you, which is dope. So find a state school because you're a state employee free. So like that's like education benefits that you're not going to get from the reserves or active duty, which is fantastic. And then the Pennsylvania Guard just came out. This is crazy shit. Like literally just dropped this past year, fiscal year 23. I think it's the Family Assistance Program. don't quote me, but the substance about what I'm about to say is accurate. Now your family members can go to the same schools for free. So that's fucking crazy. Like, it's no more just for you, the member, because you're a guard member. And again, you don't have to be active. Like, you could be the part-time guard member, like the traditional guard member that everybody thinks about. As long as you sign up your dependents into the family assistance program, they can now use those state education benefits as well, which is bananas because, again, life's expensive. So if my fiance, soon to be wife Melanie, we get married in a couple months, like, she wants to go back. She's a nurse. She wants to go back for like MP school, like nurse practitioner school or something like that. I can give her those family assistance benefits as well, which is amazing because then I can still save that post 9/11 GI Bill for my kids one day or whatever. Like the money is crazy
Now
for these education benefits.
you said that the FAP is just for guard, just for your state. Well, your state, California and Texas.
No. That's just for Pennsylvania. So that's what's
Okay.
kind of nuts, man. So again, regardless, every state has state education benefits. Like if you're guard up in New Hampshire, like they have state education benefits as well for their National Guard members. But depending on how large your National Guard is, Army and Air Force, and how much people lobby for you, like local politicians and stuff like that, or like your generals that are sitting in state headquarters, like and they're working with like the like your House representatives and stuff. It really just depends on how much your people lobby for you. So the state of Pennsylvania is incredibly strong from a National Guard perspective.
Okay.
So every state's going to vary a little bit, but what the substance of what I'm saying is, like, there are state education benefits, and you don't have to touch your federal education benefits. It's phenomenal. Like, it's just shit you don't get on active duty or in the reserves. And then also, just to kind of tie it into benefits, like TRICARE, right? So TRICARE, like active duty and AGRs, like we get just TRICARE, right? Like everything's paid for, it's totally free. It's pretty nice. It could be a little bit of a headache to deal with, but at the end of the day, you're not fucking paying money towards your healthcare, which is nice.
Yeah, you can walk into any urgent care and say this hurts, and they'll take care of you. And
bro, I've been to
you
the
don't
ER.
pay a dollar. Yeah,
I went to the emergency room, and I didn't pay a fucking dime. Like,
I went to the emergency room, and then they put me in an ambulance and transferred me to another hospital. I walked out, didn't pay a dollar.
Dude,
if you're a civilian, that's $50,000.
Bro, you're not even joking.
It's wild, dude.
So TRICARE is phenomenal. Again, like they are a little bit of a ball buster when it comes to like if I need an MRI or something like that. But whatever, eventually the shit's gonna get paid.
Yep.
So,
Not
and
by
as
me.
a guard, as a guard member, so my guard base is not zoned for like a big active duty base. So like a lot of times, like you have to go see like a military doctor, a military dentist. I don't. So, which is kind of nice. Again, so I have like, it's called TRICARE remote, meaning like I'm in a remote location, which I'm not. I'm 20 minutes from Philadelphia. But my closest active duty base is McGuire, which like per the miles is too far. I can go to civilian healthcare providers, which is like awesome. I have a civilian doctor. I have a civilian dentist that takes TRICARE, which is, again, super rare, but it's a guard thing. But now if you're a drill status guard member, so if you're a civilian police officer or whatever, and you drill 1 week in a month and so on and so forth, but your police department, for whatever reason, their healthcare kind of sucks, you can opt into TRICARE Reserve. So TRICARE Reserve, or like if you're a teacher or whatever, like maybe you're a carpenter, right? So you're a private carpenter, you're not union, and you're just kind of grinding, trying to get by. You put your uniform on 1 week in a month, whatever. You like, in order to have those health benefits, you opt into TRICARE Reserve. It's like $40 a month, dude. So it's crazy. So that's just for the member. Now, if you start tacking in kids and a wife, but again, it's still like, it's not bad. Like I know my mom, she works for a hospital in Manhattan, and her healthcare kind of sucks, even though she works for a hospital. Like that's just the grind of being a civilian that people forget about. So if let's just say like instead of her paying like $1,000 a month into her healthcare, maybe she pays like $150 into it, whatever, through TRICARE Reserve. So like that's another benefit. It's not an education benefit, but it's a benefit of being like a guard member or a reservist. So like Air Force Reserve as well. You can opt into TRICARE Reserve. But if you're like 26 years old, not married, no kids, you're off your parents' health insurance, but you're still a guard member. It's like, fuck it. I need healthcare. TRICARE Reserve, $40 a month, and then you're good. You get all the benefits of like that you and I get as an active member. It's kind of crazy. So I hope I didn't just tongue twist too much or fucking
no, you're
someone's
good.
head didn't just explode watching. But you
Bro,
know,
I mean, this is part 3. If they're still watching, dude, pretty sure they're able to translate everything you say.
yeah, no, it's just shit that like I think is important.
No,
You know, like
definitely. I mean, even for my wife. I mean, my wife's a nurse too, like just like Mel. And you know, her hospital offers healthcare, but she's like, this fucking healthcare sucks.
dude, it's
So,
crazy.
so she's under me, under the military, and she's like, she's starting to get it. TRICARE. Not everybody accepts it, so that's kind
Yeah,
of like the hard part is trying to find out like where you can go. But she loves walking into a place and not having to spend a dollar. She loves getting medication and not having to pay for it. She's like, this is fucking great. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, it's really good when you find somebody who does take it. But for
correct.
the most part, a lot of people take it. All you have to do is just call TRICARE and go, hey, like I'm on the East Coast, so I need TRICARE East, and they'll be like, all right, what's your email? These are all your approved providers, and you can just go through that list on Google, see who
Yeah,
the best provider is, and be like, all right, this one, and then they're like, all right, we set it up, just go there whenever the hell you want. And
yeah,
it's always the wife, it's always the spouse and the kids that have the best healthcare. They have like TRICARE Gold. I have basic TRICARE. The active duty, the service member is basic.
same. Yeah,
Just for the sole purpose that if you go on deployment or you go away on training, your number one priority is going to be coming back home to your wife and kids. So when you're away, that's all that's going to be going through your head. But if you know that they have the best healthcare, it kind of helps ease that tension a little bit to be like, if something goes wrong, knock on wood, God forbid, but they'll be fine though. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
can walk into any ER, any emergency room, any urgent care, and you know not have to deal with the whole headache and the hassle of like, oh, we don't have money for fucking Joey or whatever the fuck. You know?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So
it's
I
I think
get
it's great.
married in a couple months, and yeah, I'm gonna be putting obviously Melanie immediately on like TRICARE and obviously like active duty dental and whatever the fuck else I can throw her on.
Yeah, the best
Just
part for
because like the
you is you don't even have to. She don't need to go to like a base or whatever. She can
nope,
go wherever the hell she wants, dude. She's gonna have better healthcare than you. So
probably.
she's the real winner, dude. You better make sure you get a prenup. No, I'm joking. Oh shit, that's funny, dude. You would think, right? Like I mean, you probably thought this too. You're like you work in a hospital and you have shitty healthcare. Like how the fuck does that work? You know?
Yo, like even like maternity and paternity leave, like her hospital, dude, she's a fucking nurse that like can deliver a baby, but the hospital doesn't offer like anywhere near good
Yeah, right.
like if she were to pop a kid out, like her maternity leave's trash compared to the military. As a man in the military, as of I think last year, you get 3 months paternity leave. Bro,
Yep.
3 fucking months. And you could
Yep.
take it, you could do a month and a half now, and then 6 months from now, you can take another month and a half. You don't have to take it all at once, too.
Yep.
Like that's
Nope.
crazy benefits that like I'd say 99% of society doesn't get that shit. You know what I mean? So Melanie's mind was blown when I fucking told her that. She's like, "You get more leave than I get." I'm like, "I
Yeah.
know." So
Yeah, well, even for nurses too. I know, like, I'm pretty sure Mel's brought this up, but my wife works with a bunch of nurses, and they'll be pregnant up until the day they have to deliver.
I know it's
And
terrible.
I'm
Yeah,
like, really? And my wife's like, yeah, I mean, like, we kind of understand she's pregnant, so she's not going to be like, full force. But where else is the best place to break your water? I was like, yeah, I guess you're right.
true,
I guess
true
you're right.
story.
And like if you work in the hospital, you go to that hospital to deliver your baby, like the whole hospital is gonna like not like shut down, but like be like, yo, Mel's having the kid, like
True.
we need to get all the doctors, we need to get everybody, we need to flick the light switch on and off a bunch of times and celebrate. So it'll be cool. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess so. And then after birth, it's easy for them to like, if they have to go like pump or do whatever the hell they got to do. I don't know. They definitely accommodate, but when it comes to healthcare, they're like, well, you work in a hospital, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. Facts.
Damn, yeah, dude, that was definitely fucking. I feel like we're doctors now, dude. We should have a doctorate degrees. You're getting your master. What are you getting your masters in again?
Right now, it is Homeland Security with a focus in counterterrorism. Just shit I've been doing for between civilian law enforcement and fucking military. I've been doing it for, fuck man, coming up 12 years or something like that.
I was gonna say it's been a minute, huh?
Yeah, so
Time's been flying for you, huh?
yeah, so I got hired by Philly PD 2012. So yeah, do the math. 2024. So it's crazy. But
That's
I'm actually
wild.
considering switching it to it's basically like international relations and global security. So it's
Hmm.
basically taking Homeland Security and just flipping it to like the global side because um, I think episode 2 I had like just graduated the Air Advisor Academy for the Air Force, which is all about working by, with, and through foreign militaries. And I kind of
Okay.
found that absolutely fascinating. Like you go overseas and you train up foreign countries in whatever the hell they request. Obviously, as a security forces member, my forte is security forces, base defense, all that shit, anti-terrorism, so on and so forth. Like that's like what I would like to consider myself a subject matter expert. So I thought it was fascinating. I'm like, oh fuck. So then, since we spoke last, I had the opportunity to go and do an air advisor mission in Lithuania, and I felt even more passionate about it. So I'm like, yeah, I think I might want to like actually get my degree in this. So instead of focusing on the homeland, which has kind of been the thing since 9/11, we live in like a globally intertwined, interlocked world these days. Like everything's at our fingertips. I can FaceTime my boys in Lithuania, like Lithuanian Air Force guys. I did that like a couple weeks ago. They were fucking hammered and they just hit me up and you're like, Chris, I'm like, yo. And like, we're just like, but like, we're talking. You couldn't
That's
do
so
that
fun.
40, 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Nah.
you couldn't even do that 25 years ago, 20 years ago. So like the world is at our fingertips now and everything's like literally global. It's no more just America. Like we're not operating in a vacuum anymore.
Nope.
So I'm considering switching my major as long as my credits come with me to like global security, if you will. Um, but yeah, like since we last spoke, I don't even remember. I guess it was like October, November of
I think the
23.
Yeah, I think December 13th. I think that
Oh,
was
was it
when we did
December?
it. Yeah,
Oh, no
I think
shit.
so
Okay.
too.
So regardless, I've been busy. Yeah. So I graduated the Air Advisor Academy, I guess October, November. Oh yeah. So we spoke, and I was getting ready to go to Arctic school like right after that.
Yup,
Fuck, I
that
forgot all about that. Yeah.
yeah.
You want me to talk about that?
I was gonna say, yeah, Arctic School.
Dude, it
So
was
I mean,
terrible.
like people don't know like the whole backstory to it, but like while Chris was in Arctic School, he's like taking these pictures and sending me pictures and posting these videos, and it literally looked like a snow day, like snow dogs, man. This guy just wearing like an Eskimo coat with like a hut and like 12 feet of snow, and I'm like, that looks miserable.
Dude, it
So
was the
yeah.
worst.
So those of you out there saying that the Air Force is soft and no, the Air Force is fucking cold, dude. That's like
Dude.
that
Well, again,
doesn't.
like, God, all right, where to begin? So, again, we're the GWAT era of us being in the military, global war on terrorism, it's never going away. But it's in the rearview mirror. You know, we pulled out of Afghanistan. We have a couple thousand troops in Iraq, so on and so forth. Go down the list. So, we have to obviously be cognizant of Islamic extremism and terrorism and all that. But the shift with the DoD is towards global superpowers, right? So China, Russia, everybody sees what's going on in Ukraine. As of a couple of days ago, North Korea, Kim Jong Un, and obviously Vladimir Putin had talks, and North Korea is now sending engineers and shit to Ukraine. So North Koreans, I didn't have that on my fucking bingo card, is sending troops to Ukraine into Russian-controlled territory to work with the Russians and basically reconstruct Russian controlled territory in Ukraine. Like it's insane. So the Russia-Ukraine conflict's not going anywhere. But anyway, Russia, China, Iran, so on and so forth, these big superpowers, that's the shift of like our focus as the DoD. Again, this is not a DoD endorsed fucking thing. It's just facts. Like Google it. So why would we go to Arctic school? Well, it's fucking cold in Russia and
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Yep.
China has fucking mountains and shit like that too. Like when I was in Korea, like it's all mountains, snow top mountains. Like that's the shift, man. Like the desert's not going anywhere, but we have kind of gotten a little bit laxed on like fighting in other like rainforests and shit like that. Like you find me a rainforest in Iraq. You know what I mean? So like that's shit
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
just haven't focused on. So, but and the Arctic, so if we go to Alaska like today, in the winter, that pass right there, God, I can't for the life of me think what it's called. That pass right there freezes. You can essentially walk to Russia from Alaska. Like that's how close Russia is to Alaska. So people forget, like, they're right fucking there, like, on our border, and they're not super happy these days. So anyway, that was kind of like the justification of me going to my leadership and saying, hey, um, heard about the school. I have buddies that have gone through from other bases, like security forces members. I'd like to go. I know it's a nut kicker. Like, I don't know too much about it. To be totally honest, dude, I did not know what the fuck I was getting myself into. I was like, I did not think it was going to be that bad. Actually, bro, do you know what SEER is?
Yeah, that's
Do you know
the survival evasion. Yeah, it's
resistance
basically
escape or some shit like that?
exactly. It's basically where from what I've heard, not getting. I mean, I haven't gone through it, so I can't give too much detail. They'll
Yeah, I went to like
basically.
a lesser SEER school, but
Oh, good for you. I
no,
bet.
no, dude, I'm just saying,
Did they
like,
did they break anything?
they didn't. No, I mean, a lot of it's classified secret at a minimum,
Yeah.
but you can get hurt there. So,
Yeah. I mean,
uh,
you see, I see videos all over social media, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So I showed my wife. She was like, "What is this?" Like they're tying people up and strapping them to a chair and like throwing them like into like a lake. And she's like, "They could do that?" I'm like, "Well, fucking apparently."
as long as you sign the waiver before you go.
Yeah. So I
But
mean,
no, so SEER specialist, like, and actually, like, a SEER specialist is a career field in the Air Force. Like, they obviously teach at the school, but they also deploy and shit like that too. People don't know too much about them, but they fall under special operations. If you're a SEER specialist, and but I had a SEER specialist in Air Advisor, like, in my class with me, and we were talking, and he had an Arctic tab. So I was like, oh shit, like, I'm going to Arctic in a couple months. What can you tell me? And he just started laughing. He's like, "You poor fuck," and I'm like, "Dude,
yeah, like,
I'm like, that's not good at all. Like,
yeah.
what am I doing?" He actually took his Arctic tab off. He's like, "When you graduate, I want you to wear this, like, because you're gonna fucking earn it." And I'm like, "You sure?" He's like, "That no." I thought it was super cool. I was very humbled. He's like, "Nah, dude. Like, I have to go. Like, with Siri, he has to go to all these crazy ass schools." He's like, "For you, like, it's a big fucking deal. So when you graduate, or if you graduate, put this tab on." I was like, "Okay." So whatever. I got the reporting instructions and stuff like that from the school. Didn't sound too bad, but it's like an Army curriculum. So everything that, like, I did is Army doctrine. It was at an Army base. It was at Camp Ripley, like, way north Minnesota on, like, the Canadian border, middle of fucking nowhere. Obviously very cold, and you do it in January, which is, like, very cold in
Yeah.
northern Minnesota. But this is the first time ever that it was all Air Force security forces. Like, usually it's joint, like, Army and like Air Force security forces.
Mhm.
But since there's such a demand these days for, like, security forces troops to go through Arctic school, it was just us, which is kind of neat. Like, I had guys from all across the career field. Like, just in my barracks, we had so one of my best friends, Justin. Shout out Justin. I kind of dragged him to Arctic school with me. I'm like, I don't want to go by myself.
I was gonna ask, did you
Yeah,
have anybody that you knew that went with you,
yeah.
or like were you just flying solo?
So my boy Justin, man, we've done everything together. We kind of enlisted around the same time. I didn't know him at the time, but we were, like, in, like, the depth together, if you will. And then we were, like, 2 weeks apart in, like, security forces, like, in the security forces academy, and then we deployed together and shit like that. So, like, we've been together for a minute, and so I was like, bro, like, this is a really cool opportunity. I'd like for you to go.
You're
And
just trying
he's
to
like,
gas it up.
yo, he's like, if it was a hot weather school, I'd go, but this is a cold weather school. I'm like, I submitted your name, like, too late. And he's like, "You motherfuck, dude." So he was miserable, but it was so awesome having him there. So he was like my rap.
For you, but
Yes,
him,
yes.
he's like,
Yo, I have
just
a really
freezing,
good
trying to-
I have a really good story, but he was like my bunkmate, and then we had guys from, like, New Hampshire, West Virginia, fuck, where else? Nebraska, whatever, like, Oklahoma, like, dudes from everywhere. Just like, this was just like my barracks. Like, the class was like 50 people, whatever, from all across the security forces enterprise. So show up, and it's fucking freezing, and there's snow on the ground. I'm like, okay, well, this is Arctic school. Like, all right.
You guys don't like turn it on and like it snows. No, you get
it's
off the
14 days, no days off. Like, you train all
okay.
14 days, and, like, maybe a day and a half is, like, classroom. Like, you're not going to learn much in a classroom about survival in the Arctic. So it was like a day and a half. You get all this cold weather equipment issued to you from the Army. So there's, like, not going to go too much into it, but, like, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, 7 being the warmest, level 1, like, whatever. So you learn how to, like, wear all this shit, layer it, different, whatever. Then like the rest of the class after like a day, maybe like your first day, the second day you're pretty much outside, even though you're still on the base. And it was like I think like the average was like -5, like, and that's like kind of toasty like for there. So like
Yeah.
like for us, I'm like, oh my god, but like you kind of get used to it and like you learn how to layer and stuff like that. But the coldest it got was like -35, -40. So like that was fucking like that's like right on the border. They show you of like green, yellow, red, like you can't live in this sort of shit. Like that's
Yeah.
like how So I'm like, oh my god. But anyway, so they're teaching you how to start fires, how to build a camp, like how to build a tent, how to build a thermal shelter. There's nothing thermal about it, but it's basically like it's like ponchos, tarps, sticks, trees, branches, pine needles. Like if you don't have anything like that, like build a shelter, and that'll be your thermal shelter, and at least you'll like survive, right? You're not going to
Yeah.
be comfortable, but all this shit. So uh, whatever. So then week 2, you officially leave the base, and that's considered like your FTX, like your final training exercise. And you don't come back for like a week. Like you're gonna go live in this shit for like the second week. And again, the whole class, by the way, like you're rucking your fucking nuts off. So we had a ruck that was like 60 to 90 pounds, depending on like how you pack it, and with all your like survival shit and whatever. And then you had it's called an Akio sled. So that's like a 250-pound sled that has the rest of your shit in there that you need to survive, and you kind of you hook up like a dog sled team almost. So like you have like your fire teams basically, but a little bigger. Like maybe my team was maybe like 9 to start, but by the end we had like maybe 5 or 6 people left, just for my team. So like you put your ruck on plus your toe in this fucking sled like a dog sled team. That's how you get around. So we
Mhm.
just marched our ass off the base, and it's like, okay, a lot of land nav too, obviously. So, but land nav with snow is very different because everything's white, so it's hard.
Yeah. It's harder to
Um,
see. I mean, yeah, I get that. With land nav, you use maybe rocks or a waterfall, but
yeah,
there's none of that when there's snow on the
it
ground
all
and
looks the same.
every tree is bare. Yeah, you're just like
You kind of
you
just
can
gotta,
you can probably see further because there's no
yes,
leaves, but there's nothing to mark. Like there's no, you know what I
you
mean?
gotta kind of just trust your waypoint and your
Your
compass
point
and shit
man.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. So basically, in the morning, you'd wake up. Your instructors would say, "Hey, like, here's your grid coordinates. Figure it the fuck out. See you there." And then, like, you can ruck for 4 miles. You can ruck for 7 or 8 miles. It really just like, and you're wearing snowshoes too, dude. Rucking with snowshoes was fucking miserable.
Your feet got fucked, huh?
Yeah, dude. Like
Yeah.
severe blisters. And like these boots, these Arctic boots that they give you, I forget what they're called, but they have like valves on them. Like literally, if they get wet, you can like let the water out and shit. But I think they would be great for like a static fighting position, right? So if you're like in a DFP, like or a tower or whatever, defensive fighting position, um, your feet are going to stay warm, but like it keeps all the moisture out. But another problem is like if you're rucking, what is it doing? It's keeping the moisture in. So like that's a fucking problem. So like I'd ruck like 4, 5, 6, 7 miles, get to like our camp for the night, and it's like okay, like we left at like 7 a.m., whatever, get there around 11 or noon. It's like, okay, cool. Like you think you're chilling. No, now it's time to change your layers. If you're sweating, like get out of like your sweat, change
Yep.
your fucking socks, start a fire, and now build your whole camp. So like your whole day is like ruck, build your camp. Okay, it's dark now. At least we have the fire, eat, sleep. Next day, here's your grid coordinates, move. And like that was like the whole week was just like that. So your first couple nights were like build a thermal shelter. Like you're not allowed to use your tent or your stove or whatever. Like just start a fire and find some fucking sticks and all this shit and build like a shelter. It was horrible. And of course that was like the coldest night out of the 2 weeks. Like I swear to fucking God, dude. So like our first thermal shelter night was the fucking coldest night out of all 14 days. So you can't make this shit up. So um I didn't sleep not one wink, zero. Like I have my sleeping bag, I have my clothes, like we had the shelter, but it was just so unbelievably cold. I'm like laying there, and my like you have like basically like a buddy that's like laying with you, like feet to head sort of thing, because like
Oh, I
like
believe
body
it.
body heat's a real thing. Um, he didn't sleep either. Like we're shaking, but it's like all right, like just want the sun to come up so I can get the fuck out of here. But in my head, I'm like, I can't quit, dude, because I dragged Justin here. Like
Yeah.
that's like
Oh,
that
yeah.
was my thing. I'm
And,
like,
and Justin was like, I can't quit because he needs me. Yeah.
Yeah, like legit. I was like, I can't. Like the only reason I was like, you're contemplating your whole life when you're in like a scenario like that, and I'm like, dude, like I didn't think it was gonna be this fucking bad, but I can't leave because I made Justin come. Like that was like my fucking
Yeah.
messed up mind when I'm going through this shit, and like that night. So that night, like a thermal shelter collapsed on like some girl. There were actually girls in my class too, believe it or not, like some fucking absolute hitters. Um, and like, but like they got severe hypothermia because like the shelter collapsed, and now they're like it's pitch black. They're freezing fucking cold because like their fire went out, when they were sleeping. They don't have their full layers on, and like Cadre, I'll give Cadre a lot of respect. Like every time we were out there, they were with us too. Like so, they were kind of going through it as well.
The
Like they lived out
instructors,
there
you mean?
with us. Was that?
The instructors?
Yeah, cadre instructors,
Okay.
yeah, same shit.
Okay.
So like they're living out there too with us, like so major respect to them. But like these girls, like we might be like in the same campsite, but they might be like a quarter mile away. Like we're not on top of each other, so
Mhm.
they're screaming like cadre instructor whatever, and they actually had to get bussed back because they had like nasty hypothermia. We had a couple frostbite cases, like some dude got frostbite on his feet, he got washed. Another dude had severe frostbite on his hands. I think he actually lost a finger or two. So like he's like done, like out of the military. Like that's like the
Wow.
shit that we were dealing with. People we were going up this hill, like kind of like northern Minnesota doesn't have mountains, but they have some pretty gnarly hills. And like some dude just with his ruck like fell backwards and like rolled down the hill and fucked his spine up. We had a dude, like one of my good buddies, Josh, fucked his hip up. He got washed. So like the normal Army attrition rate's like 20% of your class fails, and that's basically where we were when we lost. I think we graduated with 40. So started with like 50, graduated with like 40 or 39 or whatever the fuck it was. So we lost 20% of the class. No one quit. So real shit, no one quit.
Oh, no one quit.
Everybody
Yeah,
just got
that's
hurt
dope.
or like
Yeah.
frostbite or whatever, hypothermia, fucked up backs, hips, but no one quit,
Mhm.
which was cool. But it is like a mental fuck when like your boys like, dude, like I'm done tapping out, like they're bringing me back to the doctor. I'm like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
respect, see you
There's
later.
nothing I can do about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was kind of in the same thing, but it wasn't the Arctic. It was like jungle warfare. So it
I
was
wanted
kind
to get to
of
that school real bad, but my commander, like, he's like, it's too expensive to get you out there.
it was, and it was miserable, kind of same as you, but it
Yeah,
wasn't cold. So it was just wet. You know what I mean? So
which
like
is a big enemy.
we would do the same shit you did. It was like a day of classroom, not even like a half a day of classroom, and then the rest of it was just like out in the field. And you would just like they'd be like, "All right, pick a spot." And you'd be like, "What do you mean pick a spot? Like this is where you're sleeping." So one night we just picked like a random like fucking like hole in the ground, and it was just me, my buddy, and then like our officer. It was like us three all like nut to butt. And then we fell asleep like with a poncho like on top of all three of us. And we woke up and I had the poncho wrapped around all of me. They were soaking wet. They're like, "Yeah, you fucking pulled it off us last night." And I was like, "Dude, my bad, my bad." But
But
yeah, dude.
like the bonds that you build when you
Yes,
go through
bro.
like I call it trauma bonding. Like when you
Mm.
go through like a shit that's like trauma, like that sucks. I knew
Yep.
these fucking guys for like 2 weeks, like that. Like aside from Justin from my base, guys that like all around the Air Force, whatever security forces, um, we're still cool as fuck. Like we have a group chat, like we hit each other up, even though it was 2 weeks. Um, this is crazy too. So like I was talking to my boy Josh. He's the one that fucked his hip up. He actually didn't graduate. He was like a day or two before like our final ruck, and he's like, dude, like my hip's popping. Like I think he tore something. I forget. But like still stayed cool with him. He hit me up. I think it was last week, and got to talking, just checking in, whatever. And he said he's deploying next year, and I was like, oh shit, me too. Not no OPSEC's gonna come out here, but long story short, we're going to the same base, which
Oh,
is
that's dope.
wild. Same time frame, same base. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like that's
I'll
like,
see you there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like small Air Force shit though. Like I met this dude in Arctic School in Minnesota. He's from New Hampshire. I'm from Pennsylvania. 2 weeks, that's it. But we stayed tight, and now we're going to the same base for 6 months. Like it was just crazy. Small Air Force shit, and his boy Joe too. It was Joe and Josh from the New Hampshire Security Forces unit. But anyway, yeah, small Air Force shit. That happens to me all the time. Small
Hmm.
military. But and like the last part, real quick, about Arctic School is like, so your final ruck is like you got to go to this lake, like this frozen lake, and it's basically to simulate like, so when you're traversing in the Arctic, like a frozen river, a frozen lake, as long as it holds your weight, which it should, because it's, like the ground's even frozen, like with permafrost, is an easy way to traverse because you could see where you're going. If you know the river goes north and south, like just follow the river north, like that's nice. It's flat, so you're not dealing with hills or trees. Like that's a good reason to traverse on a body of water with your sled and all that. But what happens if someone falls in, right? You got to learn how to get them out, how to survive, so on and so forth. So that was the last portion. Like you got to go to this frozen lake. So we'd pack up camp, maybe 3-4 miles, easy ruck, get there, and like they have like they chainsawed like a square out of the lake, and like the Coast Guard's there, like making sure we do this the right way, and then so are my instructors and stuff like that. But it was kind of like a symbolic like graduation, if you will. So now every single member had to jump into this frozen lake, and again, mind you, it's like I think that day was like -15 or some shit.
Fuck
So
that.
yeah, so like you have to jump into the frozen lake, stay in there for like 2 to 3 minutes, give yourself stage 1 hypothermia on purpose, and you're answering questions with like your instructor in your face. Like I'm on like the ledge of the ice and I'm talking to my instructor, but it's basically to control your breathing. Also, like you get sucked under real quick, fast, and in a hurry under the ice. So it's like how to like fight that to like level your body out and also get your mind right. So now you have to get out. So jumped in, but this is the shit. Like, so it's like, it was like the water was like 30-35 degrees, which will kill you if you're in there too long. But if it's 30 or 35 degree water, but it's -20 outside, the water is actually 50 degrees warmer than it is outside, as like crazy as that sounds. So after that initial shock and like you catch your breath, you're like, this ain't so bad. It's actually warmer in the water than out, which people can't seem to fathom, but it's crazy. Whatever. So answer some questions, you get out, and now like your team has to basically get you in a hypothermia wrap. So they throw you like in the sled, poncho, sleeping bag, get you into like this, like our tents, and that's where you warm up, strip down naked, and put on like dry clothes. But it's all part of the training. But then it's like symbolic. Like now I go to graduation. So that was like
that's like your initiation into like
yeah,
you're done. That's like the
yeah,
last. That's dope. That's
yeah.
dope.
No,
That's
it
dope.
was crazy. And then like the USO was there. They had like had like coffee for us and like muffins and like because we had just been eating cold weather MREs the whole
I was gonna say,
2
imagine they brought you
weeks.
like ice cream and like, I'm
Whatever.
like
I didn't even know there was a cold weather MRE. I had no clue. Like
oh
there's
no,
regular, no, there's regular
yeah.
MREs and then there's the cold weather. I had never even heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously everything has to be dehydrated because it'll fucking freeze like a regular
Correct.
MRE. But so that, yeah, I did that in January. Super rewarding, really fucking cool. Probably one of the hardest schools, if not the hardest school I've ever been to. You can't
Yeah, dude.
outrun the cold, bro. You just can't. So you got to like
Nope.
fucking deal with it, or else it's gonna kill you. So then, shit, that was in January. Fuck, when the hell? So then after that, talking about Air Advisor and Lithuania, I guess I went in. What is it now? About to be. It's
It's
June. About
June.
to be. I think I went in March. I went in March to Lithuania. So
But no,
got to
hold up,
yeah.
brother. I'm not done with Arctic Circle
Okay, go ahead.
school, fighting polar bears, kicking Santa Claus in the ass school
No,
yet.
Timberwolves. Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. Okay.
They're,
I want
you know the
to.
Minnesota. You know the Minnesota Timberwolves, the basketball
Yeah, of
team.
course. Yeah.
That did not register to me that they actually have fucking Timberwolves in Minnesota. Like I'm such an
Oh,
idiot.
that's
Like
real.
they're real. There's like 3,000 of them that were like in the area that we were in. So
You didn't see any?
we'd be rucking, and you'd see like a deer print in the snow, and then you'd see like coyote prints, and then you'd see this fucking like giant wolf print, and you're like, oh fuck, they're actually out here, and you hear them howling at night. I'm like, are those coyotes? Like, no, those are the wolves out here.
Oh shit.
So
They're
that's a,
big, huh?
monsters. Yeah. So
Oh
I
my
didn't,
god.
I just, again, Chris, I grew up in New York and I live right outside of Philly. Like, I don't know shit about wolves, but they're like, yo, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's real. So that was terrifying.
No, you're good, bro.
But
I'm
anyway,
from New
go ahead.
York too, and I
Yeah.
didn't know farms were real when I was growing up. I thought meat just came out of Costco. I didn't know how it fucking worked.
But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Hey, so obviously cold as fuck, right? Cold sucks ass. What was it windy the entire time you were there? Because cold is one thing, but cold and windy.
Yeah, it was
I'm with
actually.
Justin. Justin.
I preferred to like when you're rucking and you have like it wasn't always on a road either. Like we would have to go off road into like the hills and shit. Like I would actually sort of
Correct.
prefer that sometimes because they have the tree cover. But like when we got out into like an open field, you're just getting fucked up from the winds. Like it was horrible. And then like you actually like you're getting like it's weird, like you're getting windburn
Yeah.
on your skin. Like nothing was really exposed. I would even throw on like goggles and shit like that, like like the ski goggles. But if I had stuff exposed, like you would actually get windburn because it was whipping out there. But then like again, this is all part of survival 101. When you get to like this big open field, it's like, all right, well, we got to find somewhere to make camp. So what place has like the most shelter? So go find a group of trees, whatever. And then we were chopping trees down every day just to like, build up like a wind wall or like a snow wall or whatever. And take the pine, like layer the pine on the floor because the ground's frozen. It's like sleeping on an ice cube. So you probably need like an inch, 2 inches of just pine to give you like that initial layer. Then you put your ponchos down and your sleeping bags and whatever. But yeah, like the wind was fucking us up out there. I forgot about that. Oh, to talk about Justin, this is funny as shit, dude. So when you get there, they split you up on purpose. So like if me and Justin are from the 111th, like that's our squadron, you're no longer on the same team. Like it's like shoot, like on purpose to like,
he was proud of it.
yeah. So I mean, like I saw him every day, but he's not on my fire team. So we were rucking. It was so cold, dude. Like if you had a mustache like you had like icicles coming off your mustache, and like my eyes were like freezing shut, like my eyelashes. Like it was so crazy. Like you literally had like icicles on your eyelashes. So we had just rucked a lot, and Justin comes walking up to me, and his fucking eyelashes are like icicle frozen. His helmet's like this, and his goggles are like this, and he goes, I could punch you so fucking hard in the face right now. He's like, dude, I hate you. Like he was so mad, like genuine hate. Like he's like, I'm gonna knock your fucking teeth out. And I'm like, it's not that bad, man. Dude, it was the worst. It was the worst.
You know it's bad, dude. We've all seen that. If you're active duty or you're a veteran, like when you've been in the field somewhere and you see that one dude who just uniform's fucked up. His sling is around his neck. His fucking helmet's on all cockeyed, and he's got dirt all over him. You're like, dude, this guy's not having a good time right now.
Yeah, I mean, the reporting instructions were super like misleading. So like that was like part of like our end of course critique. Like you do. All right, so they do require like an excellent PT score, like a 90 or better. Like that's a requirement, but that's not enough to like get you through this class. So they're probably going to require like a timed ruck moving forward and shit like that, and like be a lot more descriptive about just how heinous like the environment is. And so we have 2 more guys from my squadron going this January, and now me and Justin as graduates are going to kind of do like a home station prep class, like a pre-Arctic school or whatever. The best we can.
Lessons learned.
Yeah.
What you should bring, what you shouldn't bring.
We were kind of like the test dummies, bro. So
low key.
Definitely what to pack. Like that's a game changer if you know how to pack. So
how to pack. That's the biggest thing, dude. Like when I first checked into my first battalion, like first duty station, they handed me all this shit, and I was like, "What am I gonna do with this? Like, what do I need a mosquito net? Like, where am I going?" Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Give me all your shit and put it out on this like basketball court." And they were like, "This is how you pack it, and this is what you need, and this is what you don't need." And there's 30 pounds of shit that I've never used, never opened, and then the other fucking 60 pounds of shit that I used every time I went on a training or deployment or whatever. They like how to pack it. Like it's crazy how you can fit 80 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag.
Facts. And like packing a ruck is a true art. Like
yeah, and be careful, your fingers hurt, man.
No, yeah, for sure. And like weight distribution, like if it's too much to the left, you're gonna fuck your spine up. Too much to the right, too much weight at the top, too much weight at the bottom. Like there's all this shit you got to figure out, and like what's most important. You want easily accessible on top, and if you're a novice, like you're fresh out of like boot camp or something, you're probably gonna fuck your back up. You're not gonna like all this. So it's a true art, especially like you go through something like that where you're living out of your bag. Like you got to get it right, and also just keeping stuff dry. Like jungle school and Arctic school. Very different, but very similar. Like the water, the wetness, precipitation or melted snow, or rain. Like all right, so your shit might be in a bag and you might have like fresh socks, but if they got wet in your bag, then they're no good to you. You know what I mean? So like, that's all stuff you got to think about. Fire starters, like if you can bring some fire starters out there with you, great. If not, if you got to kind of like cheat it, like which is a thing, like. Go to like your laundry room and just take all the lint, take all the fucking lint, throw it in a Ziploc bag. Like that's just something to help you start your shit out in the field. Like again, you can't chop a tree down and expect to start a fire. That tree was living 30 seconds ago. There's water in that tree. You got to find like down trees
Mm.
that have been dead. But then, okay, like it snowed on the tree, so they're still wet. Like that's all shit you got to think about when you're out in the field. So, whatever. Another discussion for another day. But yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm so
kind of
grateful I knocked
reminds
it out though.
it kind of reminds me of that TV show Alone. You ever see that show? It's
No.
literally the same concept where they take these like survivalists, right? People who like thrive on like living in the wilderness, or they were an Arctic school teacher, right? And they'll take these people and there'll be like 10 or 15 of them, and the last one to like tap out wins like
Okay.
$100,000 or whatever. And they put them in like Alaska, and the first day there it's like 10 degrees, but by day 50 it's like -40. The wind chill is incredible, and they have to build their own shelters, they have to find their own food, they have to
Yeah.
afford, they have to do whatever the hell they have to do. Sounds a lot like it, just without the whole Arctic MREs. Which brings me to my next question: what type of meals are these Arctic MREs, and which one's like the best one?
Oh fuck. Okay, so I forget the brand, but you can literally go to like a Gander Mountain or like a Cabela's or whatever, and it's
Oh,
literally
okay.
it's like a camping food brand. God, what's it called? Regardless, like that's inside of your cold weather MRE. So I guess they have the contract with the DoD. Dude, they were
Probably.
fucking phenomenal. But
Yeah.
you can't eat them without boiling water. So like that's the trick right there.
Oh.
Everything in a cold weather MRE is dehydrated on purpose because it would be a fucking frozen brick
Yeah.
otherwise. Like if I had a regular MRE and I just sat it out for an hour where I was at, you couldn't eat any of it. It would just
Yeah,
be,
it's done.
it'd be a rock. So everything had to be dehydrated. And like you had to literally like have a fire starter, or um, if you were smart enough to bring, what the fuck are they called? Like a little stove, basically, that like with a propane tank. If you could break that out of your ruck, if that's what you wanted to add that weight to your ruck, and try to game it that way, you can, but you're going to run out of propane eventually. But that's just a
Yeah.
way faster way than trying to boil the water over the fire, which you had to know how to do both. But so you had to boil your water, then to eat this shit. They were delicious. The absolute worst one, which I'll never eat again. Like I have no problem eating like 99% of MREs. Some people ate them, some people love them. I'm not going
Yeah.
out of my way to eat MRE, but like I don't bitch and moan. Like I'll just eat whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Give it to
but
me. Sure, sounds good.
but straight up, I will never fucking eat this shit again. I almost got sick. So again, like I'm sleep deprived. I'm fucking starving. Also, dehydration is a real thing in the Arctic. People don't think about that. They think when they go to the desert, it's a thing. When you're rucking with all this clothes on, 90-pound ruck, 250-pound sled, you're going 6-7 miles. You still got to hydrate. It's like that's a thing. But it was so fucking cold that our water was freezing. So it's like, we get to a stop and it's like I want to drink. Well, now it's ice, so I can't drink. So like literally dehydration was another issue. Now we have to thaw our water, which takes time, which means you got to start a fire. Like it's just dude. So everything was way more difficult in the Arctic. Whatever. So anyway, I won't eat the breakfast one. The breakfast one was fucking disgusting. Eggs and shit, dude. I don't know. They're not eggs. I don't know what they were, but it was so bad. I got actually nauseous. Now I'm like, great. Like I'm fucking starving, and I still got to go ruck some more. Like it's just, dude, it was
Yeah.
horrible. I
What
I
about
was actually
what
like sick for like a day.
what about snow? Is it like a thing where you can like literally like take snow and like eat snow, and that'll like help hydrate you? I mean, like a bottle of water would be like, so much fucking snow, it's
Yeah,
literally unimaginable. But is that a thing? Can you like pick up snow and just start munching on snow, or
you
like
could, but it's
kind
you're
of
better
sucking
off.
on ice?
You're better off throwing it in a pot and then just boiling it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, 100%.
number one, just to be safe, but then number two, it actually turns into water. You'll
Hmm.
get more benefit out of that. You're not wrong. Like if you're like about to die, like I would 100% recommend that. But again, like you have all your camping kits and stuff like that. Start a quick fire, throw some water like in a cup that's not going to melt. That was a thing too, dude. Our waters were frozen. So now we're sitting around the fire and guys are putting their canteens, and everybody thinks of like World War II canteen, like metal.
They're
No,
plastic.
yeah, and they fucking melted. So now, like,
Oh,
now he like my boy lost like he's thirsty and he doesn't have a source to hold his water anymore. So it's like because his shit's melted. So like me like I don't go anywhere without like a monster Yeti. I always have a Yeti, them shits were great, dude. So like, it would almost wouldn't freeze. If it did freeze, it's like, okay. But we had like giant like diesel cans of water as well that we'd keep in our sled. And like those would freeze. But like my Yeti, my small like Yeti like this, like that at least wouldn't be frozen. But if I wanted to refill it, the fucking diesel can's full is frozen. But again,
Yeah.
it's not going to melt. It's going to keep and if I put coffee in there, it's going to stay hot, which is nice. Like, so if I'm freezing and my Yeti has coffee, I can like put it in my clothes. Like that was kind of nice too. Keep myself
That's a good
warm a
idea.
little bit. Yeah.
What about hand warmers?
They didn't work. They were frozen.
They were okay.
They were literally frozen.
Yeah, but somebody did bring him thinking like, "Oh, I'm gonna be okay."
I did. I had like,
yeah.
50. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah, and they didn't work. They were frozen. And then also like Justin, his uncle is a retired Green Beret, and he gave him these things where you have to like how do I describe? It's like a chemical reaction. So it's like a pouch. You pour water in it, and then it like the chemical. It's almost like an MRE starter, if you will, sort of thing. Like you know how you put water in it and it gets hot. Same concept.
Yep.
But he would pour the water in it, and not even 10 seconds later, that water's ice. So it didn't have time to react to like heat up. So
nothing worked.
Dude, it was so cold. Like it's like those videos.
I would have loved to have like a camera crew just follow Justin around, dude.
I know.
Dude.
I didn't get a chance to really like when I was out there for the FTX, like to like use my phone, like to like because I had like your battery and that cold's just gonna die. So
yeah,
I would have loved.
You just don't want to have it out because you don't want to fuck it up or break it. You know what I mean?
It's just like my battery would be drained in like 30 minutes and it's just done. And now I'm out there for a week with no phone.
That's it, man.
It is what it is. But yeah, dude. What else? Oh, so what like after you did your thermal shelters, you would put these big tents up, and you had like diesel. So you put these tent up. You have this jerry can with diesel that you would flip upside down, run these tubes into like a stove that's inside of your tent. So like the stove could either run on like diesel, like JP8, jet fuel or diesel, or you could like have a wood burning stove. It's kind of like one or the other. Mm-hmm. It was enough to like keep us comfortable, but it was still cold as fuck. Like, you know, the tent, it's better than sleeping under sticks, I'll tell you that. But
better than none.
Yeah, exactly. So like that was like, all right, you did your thermal shelter nights. Now you can sleep in the tents, and it'll be a lot more comfortable. And there you fit like 10 people in there. You're kind of sleeping on top of each other, which is nice because it's like, all right, like body heat, whatever. But it was so fucking cold that like, so diesel or JP8 is not supposed to freeze till -60, but at like -40, it was getting gunky. So like we'd turn it, and it still wouldn't run through the line. So we're like, dude, we can't fucking win out here. So like we literally had to use like antifreeze in that, like put the antifreeze in the diesel so that we can at least start our stove. Like that's how cold it was, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, I could imagine Justin over there putting the antifreeze in. And he's like, we should be fine. Somehow the antifreeze freezes. And he's like, you know what, man? Fucking. Let's just go to the fucking lake.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked he made it through. I mean, he's a stud. Like he's an actual PT stud, but you know.
But just the whole concept of he was like, nah, man, I don't want to do it. And you were like, well, I signed you up anyway. And he's like, fuck you. Dude, and then his first day there, he's like, dude, what the fuck am I doing?
I was trying to hype him up. I'm like, it's too late, bro. Like you can't back out. They'll give you paperwork. Like you know, and it's bullshit. But I was like, I was like, you gotta go, dude.
Oh god, dude, that's fucking funny. And then when they said that you guys can't be together, he was probably like,
well, yeah, that was a kick in the nuts. Like it was like, fuck, dude. But then you become so close with everybody else.
Yeah, for the most part, you know, like training like that, they're kind of just like, all right, we need 10 over here, 10 over here, 10 over here, and you kind of just group up and go. That's how it was for me with jungle. You know, like it was all CBs. For the most, it was CBs and Marines. You know, it was like half and half, and the Marines kind of outnumbered us, so they were just like, all right, the CBs are like kind of a group together, just put them over there because they're a little smarter than the Marines, and they'll probably make it through this course out alive, and yada yada yada. But some of us were actually like, nah, like we want to go hang out with the Marines because we know they're fucking, for the most part, not the brightest bunch, and they're probably going to be the funnier ones. So it was definitely cool to mingle, but at least I got to stay with my Justin when I did Jungle Warfare.
Yeah,
dude, that's funny.
Me and Justin are actually. So we deployed together in 17, went to Army
Okay.
school together January of 24, and now we're deploying again together next year, which is dope. Like I can't shake this dude. Like everywhere I go, he is. But it's awesome. Like he's actually one of my he's my lifting partner back here at home. So like we go to the gym together on our own time. Like he's actually like my fucking boy. So it's kind of cool that we're going back to the Middle East together next year as well. Like, you know, every time I make a major memory with the military, he's there. And I don't think that's like by accident. So kind of cool.
What about Lithuania? Was Justin there for Lithuania?
Nah, he's not an air advisor. I'd like him to go to that school, but he's a civilian cop. Like I'm an AGR, like I'm a full-time Air Force guy for the Guard, but he has a civilian job, so it's a little harder for him to get away.
That makes it even worse that he went to Arctic school.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, dude, I don't have to fucking even be here right now. I took time off for this shit.
Listen, bro, you do like. It's gonna sound corny, but like when you actually put like an Arctic tab on your uniform, it means something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
100%.
And then like
100%.
you also like in the computer you get like an SEI, which is like a special experience identifier. It's almost like having another MOS for like the Army or whatever. So now like if there's ever an Arctic tasking, which I pray to God they never fucking hit me up, but like they go in the computer, it's like, oh, Ryan and Justin, you know, they fucking have whatever this career field, and then Justin kills himself because he doesn't want to go. No,
you get a phone call and you got to go to Minnesota for 9 months. You'd be like, I'm not fucking.
No, we're going to Siberia, bro. We're fighting the Russians. He's like, fuck them. They can have it.
Yeah, tell him we'll be there next week. Yeah. Oh shit.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, go for it. No, I know where you're going, and I know you enough already.
So air advisor, right? So this was a big tasking. So another thing about the Guard, this is cool. So all 50 states have a state partner. So the National Guard Bureau down in DC, right by the Pentagon, they have National Guard Bureau has a thing called the State Partner Program, or like the State Partner Program Office. So like every state has a foreign country that they work with. So like Pennsylvania Army and Air Force have been working with the Lithuanians for like 30 years.
Oh, really?
So, okay. Yeah. So like California, for example, they had been working with Ukraine for like 20 years. And so like Ukraine attributes a lot of like their success so far to the State Partner Program working with the California Guard all those years leading up to the invasion.
Who does New York work with?
Fuck, they have we're Pennsylvania's getting a second partner, and a lot of states have multiple. I forget what New York has. Like Rhode Island, I have boys up in Rhode Island. They have the Bahamas, which is dope. Like that's a fucking hell of a TDY, right?
Yeah, not bad.
But then they have Timor-Leste, which I don't know. Most people have probably never heard of it. Have you?
I know Timor. We deploy there.
It's a shithole, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
but it's good per diem.
Yeah, but it's like that. Those motherfuckers used to be like cannibals not long ago. So.
Yep. No, definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
Whenever we went, like we wouldn't even stay in hotels. They had they had Connex boxes that were like military, and we had like a military compound, and we would have like security, and you would like, literally live in like
knows what Timor-Leste is.
Yeah. Oh, Lithuania. Oh, Abu Dhabi. No, Timor-Leste. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's so funny, dude. Of course you know what that is. Like, yeah. But anyway, so like they have the Bahamas, but then they have Timor-Leste. So it's like, all right, Bahamas is dope, but then you hop on your C-130 and then you're in like an absolute shithole. So,
yeah.
So anyway, I'm not going to release Pennsylvania's next state partner because I don't want to go down the OPSEC hole.
No, yeah,
but it's a pretty dope fucking country. So when it actually comes through, I'll throw that one out there as well. But anyway. That was one of my justifications of going to Air Advisor School in the first place, is like, we have a state partner, Lithuania. Who do they border? Russia. Russia just invaded Ukraine. Lithuania is worried about getting invaded by Russia as well. They're a former Soviet country. They're NATO. Like, all this shit adds up. Like, and like Lithuania is like asking, like, yes, please come out here. We appreciate your presence. Number one, like, oh, the Americans are here. That's a show of force to the Russians. But number two, like, we have needs. Because Lithuania, their army's only like 30 years old, but their Air Force is literally like 2 or 3 years old. Like, that's the crazy part. Like they're just in the middle of standing up like an Air Force. So obviously, I know you're familiar with NATO and how it works. Like, these smaller countries like Lithuania, they get things called air policing missions. So since they don't really have an air force, these bigger NATO countries like America, Spain, the UK, so on and so forth, they'll bring in fighters for like 4 to 6 months to Lithuania. So like let's just say like an F-22 squadron or an F-16 squadron, they like deploy to Lithuania for like 6 months, and they just police the airs for like because they're part of
That's
NATO,
dope.
and then
That's
they
dope,
rotate
yeah.
out, and then in comes Spain, and then Spain will police the airs because again the
Oh,
country's so
shit.
small, they don't have like the means to protect themselves from like Russia, with the Air Force.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys that are like in the Lithuanian Air Force are just their prior army. So like the Lithuanian president one day was like, all right, you motherfuckers are army. Tomorrow you're
Yeah.
congratulations. Like go stand up the Air Force. Like it's a hell of a mission, dude. So anyway, part of being an air advisor is like you got to go out to like your site and do like a site survey, which like my commander and then like my state command chief and shit like that, they went out there. Like the big dogs went out, met with the Lithuanian big dogs, for lack of a better term, and basically went around their bases, like squadrons, so on and so forth. What are your needs? This is where we see you're weak, but we want to know what you think you need. Come up with like a document of like request, and then they come home back to my squadron and we chop it up. So leading up to, I had maybe like 6 months to come up with like a curriculum of like what they need. So myself and my team, we basically literally like almost like teachers created like PowerPoints and lesson plans and whatever. Because again, this is not so much like this mission. I met with like brass, like really high ranking officials of like the Lithuanian Air Force. I'm not going to throw their ranks out there because this is whatever, like a public podcast. But I met with like some really top motherfuckers of the Lithuanian Air Force. Eventually, maybe 3, 4, 5 trips from now, I'll just be doing like CQB with like security forces guys, like, room clearing and stuff like that, like boots on the ground stuff. But that's not what this mission was about. This was like far more strategic level. So I basically created a lesson plan with like my team, flew out to Lithuania, and then worked with, you're not teaching, because you're not better than them. Like you're working with them. I'd present my lesson plan. We'd be in like this big conference room, if you will, and we just talk it out, like the Americans and the Lithuanians, and they are so fucking cool, like really cool people. But that's what I did for my time out there. Really successful trip. Quick. I was only out there for like less than 2 weeks, but whatever. The shit that we accomplished was fantastic. But I just thought of something. I don't want to go off topic. Getting there was absurd. So
they have to connect and connect.
We flew Mil Air, so we flew on a Pittsburgh KC-135. So it's a refueler / cargo plane, which is not glamorous. Like you're sitting in jump seats. There's fucking pallets in the middle, so you can't really stretch out. It's fucking freezing, or it's 1,000 degrees. Like if you fly a military aircraft, like anybody listening, like like it's either brutally hot or absolutely so cold. So especially the 135s because they're like an older aircraft. So it's like Cold War era. But anyway, so we and this was like not just like my squadron was meeting with like Lithuanian brass, like my security forces guys, but members from Philly, Harrisburg, and Pittsburgh had 7 different engagements around the country. So like all of us PA Air Guard people, like not just security forces, like all different career fields had to go meet with Lithuanians all around their country. So we did 7 different engagements, which was a huge show of force to the Russians. But anyway, we flew on a Pittsburgh KC-135. So we drove to Harrisburg, hopped on the plane, flew to Germany, right? So we're flying into Ramstein, and this is wild. So, I've flown on enough planes to know what's good and what's bad. So we're like, there's heavy winds when we're getting into Germany, and the plane starts like kind of swaying back and forth, and we're like descending. So I'm like, we're landing. It is what it is. And then you hear like flaps go down. It's like okay, so like that's good. Like they're trying to decrease speed, but then the flaps go back up, and I'm like, we're pretty fucking low right now. Why are we increasing speed? And then on a military aircraft like that, like there's guys that are on crew rest. So there's people that are flying the plane, and then there's people in the back in their racks on crew rest. The crew rest pilots and the crew chiefs are now running to the front of the plane. We're like, oh no, like, this is not good. Like, what the fuck?
Why is he
so
wake?
Then, they open the cockpit door, they slam the cockpit door, and then Vin, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never fucking hit so hard on a landing in my life. It was like boom, and I'm like in my jumpsuit with my seatbelt, and like I fly up and then I slam back down, and like then it's like and like you smell the smoke and shit like that from the brakes,
Smell
and
everything burning. Yeah.
then you hear like boom, and now it's like an in-flight emergency, so like the fire department's flying out there and shit like that. We're like, how fucking hard did we hit, dude? Whatever. So now I'm looking at my boys, and I'm like, and I was with my commander. I was with the state command chief of the Pennsylvania Air National Guard, who I know is fucking awesome, dude. So we're with some big dudes, and then it's just like me and like another couple worker bees that are like my boys. And we're like, I don't think we're leaving on time, dude. Like
Yeah.
they fucked something up. So they take us out. They put us in the PAX terminal in Ramstein. We're there like an hour. We're there 2 hours, and then fucking the aircraft commander comes in. He's a lieutenant colonel, and he's trying to bullshit his whole way through this and like whatever. So he's like, oh, like we had some damage on the aircraft, and we're probably going to be here for tonight. And dude, we're supposed to teach in like 24 hours, and we're not even in the right country. So we're still got a ways to go to East Europe. So anyway, fast forward, like we had to stay in. All right, this is fucking great too. So we had to go try to get rooms in Ramstein. The only room they had for us was like a mile and a half away, no fucking vehicle. So now we have all our bags. We're walking like a mile and a half to this fucking shit ass barracks, sleeping there. It was fucking miserable. And then like my commander and some other high ranking officials are like literally booking us civilian airflow to Lithuania. So like they're doing that like that night on their phones and like their laptops because
they're like fuck this, I ain't chancing.
Dude, this plane is so broken that they have to fly another 135 from Pittsburgh to Germany because like there's no KC-135s at Ramstein.
Yeah.
So you realize how long that takes. So we're like, we're not fucking scrapping this mission. We just got to figure out how to get there. So like shout out to like my commander and shit like that. Like absolute G, he is the man. They booked us airflow from Frankfurt, which is like an hour and 15 minutes away from Ramstein. They booked the German taxi mafia. I don't know if you're familiar. That's just what I call them because they fucking hustle the shit out of Americans. They're like, it's all cash, no card. They're going to charge us triple because they know they got us by the balls. So we have to take taxis from Ramstein to Frankfurt. And they're all like these dudes pull up. They're all like in tracksuits and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, dude. Like what the fuck? Yeah. And they're all like Mercedes taxis, like which is kind of dope. But and then I've never been on the Autobahn in Germany. There's no speed limit. I didn't know that. Like that's what's kind of cool about the Autobahn.
Oh, okay.
So like once you break the sign where it says like whatever the speed limit is, then after that there's no more speed. So this dude like there's no more limit until you see another sign. Then it means like slow down to that speed. So this guy's doing like 200K, like kilometers, whatever, which is like over 100 miles an hour, like so he's fucking hauling, dude. And I'm like, this guy's, again, it's a Mercedes too. So he's like, like, and I'm like, this is kind of dope. Like, we're not going to miss our flight. I know that because he's driving 1,000 miles an hour. So
yeah, but after the flight you just got off, you and fast, and you might want to slow down a little bit.
So now we get to a civilian airport in Frankfurt. Mind you, I don't have a passport because I was flying military air. But at least I'm on NATO orders, but whatever. Now I'm trying to explain to like these fucking tellers like NATO orders, you know what I mean? Like I don't need a fucking passport. Like let me just get on my plane. It all worked out. Now we fly to Latvia, which is still not the right country, but like it borders Lithuania. So now we fly to Latvia. Hold on one sec. So now we're in Latvia, and whatchamacallit, now we have to take like shuttles from Latvia to Lithuania. We finally get, long story short, Vin, we traveled for like 55 hours, like just trying to get there. We finally make it and whatever. So we slept a few hours and then it was time to like, go meet our people. But we stayed in this beautiful hotel in Chalet. It's called the Park Hotel in Chalet. It's like a family owned hotel. Because they don't really have barracks for us and shit like that. It's not like it's such a small country, such a small air force. But it's like this old mansion that they converted into a hotel. The people were nice as fuck. One day, like the Lithuanians will figure out capitalism. Like, thank God they haven't, because they gave us like so much free fucking food and shit like that. They really
Wow.
took
Oh,
care of
yeah.
us because they understand, like, we're investing in their economy, we're keeping them safe. If we went out anywhere in like the city and people were like NATO, and I'm like, yeah, like we're here for NATO. They'd be like, yes, like that's how much they
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. That's dope.
appreciate NATO, because they understand like the threat of Russia is right there. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
fucking hate Russians. Like they
They,
hate
they
them.
they they love the idea of having 31 other countries back them up. You
Yes,
know what I
dude. And
mean?
like during the Soviet Union, these motherfuckers like slaughtered the Lithuanians and like, captured, killed, raped. Like that's literally what the Soviet Union did to like Lithuania and all these other former Soviet countries. So they can't
Hmm.
stand them. And everywhere you look, like you see like a Ukrainian mural painted on a wall, like, like hand to hand, like, we have your back sort of shit, like in
Hmm.
Lithuanian. Like the threat is very much so real out there. So every day we teach maybe like an 8 to 4, and then like our counterparts who were cool as fuck would be like, okay, so 6 o'clock, you meet us here for dinner, and we're like, okay, Roger that. So then we go back to the hotel, maybe get like a workout in or something like that, get changed, and go meet them at dinner. And it would be everybody in our class would be there. And like, I don't know if they were forced to be or they wanted to be or whatever, but it's like you're eating dinner with the Americans, and we're gonna like this is how you build that actual relationship. The classroom doesn't
Hmm.
mean shit. Like, all right, here's the material, whatever. But to actually
Yep.
build that relationship is in as at dinner. And again, it's Europe, bro. So like I'd never really been to Europe. Like their dinner is like 3 hours. It's not like it's like an hour and we're fucking out of there. You know what I mean? Like
You
you
get
sit.
tired after a while.
Well, yeah. So like actually, it's like all right, everybody get a beer, and then our food wouldn't come out for like 45 minutes to an hour. And like it's like now this is where we just talk. We'll drink and talk, but it's like professional. And then we'd eat, and then he's like, okay, now we go down the street to the bar, and we're like, okay. So now we walk down the street to the bar, and then we'd hang out for like another 2 or 3 hours. And then it's like, okay, we'll see you in the morning at class. And that was every single night. Every night we had dinner with these fucking guys. Every night we had drinks. And it's not like you're getting like fucked up. Like you're chilling, you're hanging out with these dudes, whatever. It was a blast. It was a fucking blast. Such good people, so welcoming. And then the last night they had, God, I don't know if I should say this or not, but regardless, a really big dog from like the Lithuanian military meet us for dinner as like a thank you. It's like a relative, like a formal dinner with like dress coats
That's
and shit.
cool. That's
And like
cool.
they were like, thank you for coming out here, or whatever. Like again, we didn't pay, even though like we're supposed to. Like well, whatever. Like we took care of them in other ways, but like they were just insistent upon the fact that like we were so grateful for you being here. So that was like really fucking cool, dude. Like once in a lifetime opportunity. And then again, that trip was so successful that we already started working on another engagement. Like that's what you got to do. You can't just go out there and be like mission accomplished and then just lose that rapport. You got to keep
Yeah.
working towards another goal and another goal. That's the only way you're going to get back out there. Like to justify what do they need and how can we help them? So cool, so fucking cool.
It's definitely cool to go to different places and like learn like their way of life and see like all their customs and
Yeah,
what they do and like even eat their food. You know what I mean? Like it's wild to see that, especially staying like picture like you go to like a country like that and you stay in like a Hilton. It's like okay, cool. Nah, you
yeah,
stayed in like some like families like mansion turned hotel and
dude.
now you're giving them like this like money for 2 weeks or however long you're
Yeah,
there and like that could set them up for like a while. You know what I mean? Because like who
dude, it was
knows like
cool. It was
the
so cool.
conversion rate and like how you paid and I don't know if it was
We were
more if it
living
was
in like a
less.
neighborhood. It was not like a city metropolis. Like literally, like
Oh shit! Hold on,
people.
time out. I locked my wife out. Sorry. And we're back, dude. My bad,
That's
everybody.
great.
My bad, Chris. Dude, we have like an anti lock on the door that you can only open from the inside, and I left it and just like in my head I heard ding 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 and it was her ringing the bell. Sorry, honey, love you.
That's great. Nah, no worries, bro. No, I was saying we stayed in like a neighborhood. So like I'd be sitting on like the patio, and like there'd be like little kids on like bicycles, like literally like it's called the Park Hotel because we were like on a park. So like kids would go to the park and play, and like families would be walking in, and like you think you're like, man, like these people literally like they could not, like, let's just say Russia comes steamrolling across the border tomorrow, like they could not be here tomorrow, like that's just out, like
Yep.
it really, like the reality when you're sitting in a country like that, like about like what I was doing there, like with my team, as like the American military was like surreal. Like we literally, are helping these people, um, you know, from like extinction, like literally like that. Like look at Ukraine, look at what Russia's doing there. Obviously, I understand like Ukraine's not NATO and Lithuania is, but we're living in a crazy world, bro. Like World War III could very well be a thing, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever. So like the reality just kind of sunk in of like the magnitude of like the mission. So we went to this place called Hill of Crosses in Lithuania. It's like in Chalet, like the city of Chalet. So Lithuania is a super big Catholic Christian country.
Okay.
The Soviets are not. So when the Soviet Union invaded all these smaller countries like Lithuania, they tried to get rid of like their religion, like no more being Catholic, no more being Christian, like whatever. So at night, Lithuanians would like plant or like put crosses in the ground at this location, and as like a sign of like rebellion almost, and like the Soviets would steamroll it like the next day, and then fucking a week later there'd be double the crosses, and then the Soviets would like steamroll it. So basically like a fuck you middle finger, like because like they're like we're still gonna practice our religion whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Now it's almost like a national landmark there, dude. There's like well over like 1 million crosses, and like the Pope, like I think it was Pope John Paul II, actually held mass there during his tenure. So like there's like it's like a holy ground now by like the Catholic Church. Like they literally like enshrined like where the Pope was, and like there's like a gazillion crosses. It was amazing to see in person, like that. But that just kind of shows like the strength of like the Lithuanian people, if you will. Pretty fucking neat. And then what else am I trying to think? Oh, so I got a chance to go to like the NATO air policing compound out there. Because again, like I said, like they don't really have, they only have like a couple planes, a few helicopters, but they spend a lot of like their GDP on like defense. They're buying like 60 fucking American Black Hawks and shit like that from us. Like it's all like in the works. Like, so that's a big deal for like the Lithuanian Air Force. But when I was there, the Portuguese and the Spanish were doing the air policing. So they had like F-18s and F-16s out there. We got to go out to the compound, meet some of the pilots and the commanders, and like trade patches and all that cool guy shit. I love that stuff. And see like what are they doing? So they're like, yeah, we fly sorties every day, try to deter the Russians from coming into our airspace, and like, like the next 6 months, like maybe like the Danish will be out there or whatever. But it's kind of cool to see how like NATO as a big picture works. But yeah, and like, dude, I was only out there for less than 2 weeks, and like I was telling you, I think it was off camera. I'm cool with these fucking guys, like really cool. Like the Lithuanians, like I got a FaceTime a couple of weeks ago. My boys, all these dudes that I was working with, they were at like a barbecue, absolutely hammered with like their family, and they're like, Chris, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is up? And like they're taking me around the table, like this is my wife, and I'm like, hi, nice to meet you, and like they're like they're on their deck and stuff like that, and but again, they might be in East Europe, fucking a gazillion miles away, but they're just like us. You know what I mean? So they're barbecuing, they're drinking, they're having a good time. Like they have a wife and kids in a house, and they were like, "We miss you. You got to come back, whatever." And like I talk about Melanie all the time, and they're like, "Where's Melanie?" I'm like, "She's at work." Like fucking, like okay, we'll talk later. I'm like, "Okay, sounds good."
Yeah, dude, it's so funny.
It's cool.
Sometimes they might not even realize like the time difference. They're like, "Why's she at work?" And you're like, "Because it's 2 PM. What do you mean? Why is she not?"
Yeah, what the fuck was it? 6 or 7 hours or something like that? I forget the difference. No, it might have been 9. I think it was 9. I don't know because it's East Europe. I forget.
That's even worse, dude. When you go some places that like Japan, I think it was like 13 hours. And it was that hour over 12 hours, so like it's easy to tell the time. Nah, as soon as you hit 13, match just gets so much more harder. You're like, wait, what time is it again?
Yeah.
So like as I'm like, waking up in the morning, like 5 a.m. for PT, I'm like calling like, back home. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? They're like, going to bed, leave me alone. I'm like, oh my bad, sorry.
Yeah, I think when I deployed, I don't know, I was on nights, so it was like easier to talk to people back home, but whatever. And then I forget what Korea was, because Korea right across from fucking Japan, like the Sea of Japan's right there, very similar. Whatever. But anyway, yeah. So the Lithuania Air Advisor mission was incredible. Like legitimately, I think it like made my whole career. Like I can't get over it. Yeah. And then also, dude. So like that's a thing too. Anybody in the Air Force that's listening, if you actually go to the Air Advisor school, you get your SEI, like your MOS, whatever, in the computer. You get your tab. If you actually conduct a real world Air Advisor mission, you're eligible to be upgraded to like advanced Air Advisor. So there are plenty of people that'll graduate that school and never have the opportunity to do the job. But for those that are listening, if you actually conduct a real world mission, you can submit the paperwork to your command staff, and then you get basically upgraded to like being an advanced air advisor, like meaning like you actually did the fucking job. And then again, like if National Guard Bureau or well, this is like a big Air Force school, not just National Guard, but if they're scrolling for air advisors for additional missions, they'll see who's an air advisor, who's an advanced air advisor, shit like that. So it does make a difference. My commander, I didn't know that. My commander just hit us up after the mission. He's like, "Hey, I'm upgrading all of you." I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool." So, appreciate you. Yeah. So just throwing that info out there. That was, I think, May. Excuse me, not March. May. I went out there in May because it's about to be July. Yeah. So I've been busy, bro. I was up in Fort Drum recently. Big exercise up there. Not going down that rabbit hole. Fort Drum's a fucking dump shithole. Home of the 10th Mountain.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and now I'm just basically, I'm going to get married here shortly, and then I deploy next year and start the work up for next year. So it's just, it never ends. You know how it goes. So
no, it doesn't end, and neither does our session, Chris. This is episode 3. This is part 3. We're gonna continue on with part 4, and then yeah, we'll take it from there, man. We've been on here for an hour and 50 minutes, dude.
That's crazy.
And you have killed it. And so has Justin, dude. I think
it's been one of these days, bro. I'll get his bitch ass on here.
Yeah, dude. I really wish I could just see, because I know exactly how that is, bro. I have a Justin, dude. It's my buddy Gregory, and this kid is like tall, skinny, like a fucking like a pinky, dude. He looks like that character from Bug's Life. You know what I mean? And he was like, I was like, come on, dude, let's go to Jungle Warfare. He's like, no, all right, sure, I guess so. He had no idea it was gonna be like that, dude.
Man,
oh god,
it's a picture in my head that I'll never fucking forget. Like,
yeah, just that
dude,
anger
like legit,
built
like
up.
he had fucking icicles on his eyelash. His uniform was fucked up. He was just so mad.
The fucking helmet.
Yeah, dude, like straight up.
Oh god, that's hilarious. All right, Chris. All right, Freedom Empire. Episode 3 in the books. We'll be moving on to episode 4 here shortly. Chris, thank you so much, man. For real. Arctic school sounds miserable, but it also sounds like
don't recommend. 1 out of 10.
It sounds like an experience that is definitely it's going to be an experience, a nice I don't want to say milestone. That's not the word. A nice mark on your career that you're never going to forget.
Nope.
And that's the thing about the military, man. It's like, they say 20 years to retire. People join the military at 18. That means you retire when you're 38. You still have the rest of your life to live. So you make those 20 years the worst 20 years of your life. The worst 20 years in a good way. You know what I mean? So definitely do the shit that nobody in the world would ever think to do. Like, who would have ever, went to, like, an Arctic school in negative 35-degree weather, and then a couple months later went to Lithuania? Like, nobody does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And that was a big portion. Again, we'll do an episode 4, but that's why I left civilian law enforcement. I wanted to do something bigger, greater than myself. And being a cop is cool. Like, again, every shift is going to be different, but it's just not the same. Like, like we have a very similar personality. Like, I can't sit still in one place too long. Like, I got to go somewhere. I got to do something. I got to try to better myself and think about the bigger picture. And the Air Force has given me that opportunity. I hope I'm trying to, like, spread light on, like, at least from a security forces perspective, like, like the chair force is a real fucking meme. That's a real thing. There's probably, like, I'd say like 85% of the jobs in the Air Force is that, but there's a lot of people that do a bunch of cool shit too. And you can sit in the chair and be a cyber warrior and, like, literally, like, go hack China and Russia, and, like, that's fucking cool. Not for me, but, like, regardless, like, yeah, you're sitting in the chair, but it's still a cool job. But, like, you've worked with Red Horse, I assume, or maybe Air Force CE or whatever. Like, they get out there, they get after it. Security forces, we have our special operators, we have our pilots. Like, there's a lot more to the Air Force than, like, you might see on, like, an Instagram reel or whatever. But anyway, we'll save that for episode 4.
Nah, we'll definitely get into it. Chris, thank you again. Freedom Empire. Until next time, we'll see you on episode 4, baby. Have a good one. Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.